everybody, just wanted to let you know about the upcoming show here on May 20th, 2023. It's our model group, the SCMA model contest. It's got all kinds of stuff: armor, aircraft, ships, figures, sci-fi, wood carvings, you name it. Come on out and participate in the annual box stock shootout, the stock car challenge, or the Big Drag Classic. It's going to be held at the Simpsonville Activity Center at 310 West Curtis Street, Simpsonville, South Carolina, 29681. And for your contact information, you can go to Chuck Cox at 864-541-9080. And hope to see you there, folks. Take care. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to show y'all some of my past builds here. And I was going through my stack of cars from the show. And I got to do a little repairing on some of them. But anyway, some of you may have seen these in a few of the shows here. This is a 1963 Galaxy, and it's a resin body, and it was a terrible body. The back windshield didn't want to fit. There was flash everywhere on this thing. So there's some good resin kits, and then there's some bad resin kits. Let me move Andy over here for a minute before he topples over. He can watch from right there. So anyway, this is a combination of several kits. It started with the, like I said, the resin body, and then I used the AMT 63 Galaxy for the most of it, and I had to use the 60 Galaxy because the 63 had bucket seats, and the 60 had a bench seat. So I wanted that interior, but when I went to put it in back here, the package tray wouldn't fit. So I had to saw off the rear package tray and marry the 63 package tray to the 60 body. I mean the 60 interior. Okay. And there's Barney sitting in there. I'll show y'all a little bit how I got him to fit in there. He started out as a figure just like Andy here, and I ended up having to cut him up and then mold him into place. But anyway, let's take a look at what all I've done to it. Let's go under the hood. It is fully wired and plumbed. I opened up that air cleaner so you could so it could breathe better. And it's got the fine wires. I added the steering section right there. Added all the battery cables, whatnot. And here on the headlights, I'll show you in the pictures, it had those regular old molded in lights. So I drilled those out and found some lenses and some lens backings and fit those into place to give it a more realistic look. As you can see. Okay. Then I did all the weathering on it myself. It just, because the Andy Griffith Show, their cars weren't nice and clean and shiny. These were dealt with on dirt roads and dusty roads. So if you see, I did the windshield, I mask off. I measured those windshields, the windshield wipers, measured those. Hold on, let me get my stick here. Hold on. Okay. Had to get my Mark Batson pokey stick here. Alright, I measured these windshields right there, the windshield wipers, and I figured out the radius, and then cut a template out of masking tape, and then very lightly airbrushed a tan mist to make it look like the consistency of dust. And this is the Mars light right here. It's aftermarket. I got it off of eBay because I was having a hard time finding the correct light. Most of them had the bubble top, and his was the flat top. Okay, and the antenna back here, I just took some styrene, drilled little holes right there, looped it over, pulled it tight, and then super glued it into place. Because you never really see a close-up of the one they used on the show, so I really wasn't sure how to mimic that. Anyway, he's got I took an old CB from off of an old truck kit, and I drilled it out, put the wire into place, and as you can see, I've got dust all over it from where it's been going up and down the dirt roads. And the back windshield, I sort of did like the front, but I sprayed that with just acrylic craft paint. And when it was sort of semi-dry, I just took my finger and rubbed it over, you know, like this, to give it the appearance of some kids or whatever. You know how they'll wipe the dust off the back. Yeah, I'm sorry about this rear windshield right here. That's part of the resin kit. You don't get an actual glass. You get some cheap looking, I don't know what you call it. You can almost tear it with your fingers. But it is what it is. Then I added the baby moons. The dog dish hubcaps. Now this has got to have a little repair to it from after the show. I know some people hate bare metal foil, and I'm not a real big fan of it myself because it does tend to peel off a lot. It looks rough here, but it's mostly just because of the consistency of that body. So I did have that resin. For some reason it came that way. That didn't happen while working on the model. It actually came that way. Had a little crack in it, so I had to deal with it. And I made this little antenna. And I got the decals off of eBay, and I did the two-tone white, because if you'll notice in the color episodes, it's really not so noticeable in the black and white episodes, but in the color episodes you'll see that this is an Oxford white, and it's always got that bright white logo against that off-white, almost an egg color. So yeah, it took me a while to mimic that, because everything I sprayed in the beginning, they were matching. It was like super bright white. So, and then I got the radio there. That came out of come on, let's focus here. Yep. The radio, it came out of a Starsky and Hutch kit. And then he's got his bongos there. I put those in there with him because Barney, he liked to play the bongos. Alright, stick around in the photo section and I'll show you how I manipulated Barney there. Alright, we'll get on to the next one. I appreciate you watching. Alright folks, we're back and we're sticking to the Andy Griffith Show. And for my next build, this was I wanted to go with the Andy Griffith car. This is the Darling family. You remember the Hillbilly family? There's Charlene Darling. Let's see. Get my Mark Batson pointy stick here. Alright. There's Charlene Darling. Then we had there's Briscoe. And then the rest of the family here. Alright, now on to the truck. I wanted to make it look like their hillbilly truck. The hood does not open because the only time you saw them with the hood open was the very first episode where they where the Darlings came to town. Okay, this is a Lindbergh kit, and it's a 34 Ford, and it's got a flathead. It's got a flathead in it, and if you'll notice in the very first Briscoe Darling family episode, they're at the watering trough, and ooh, hang on, there we go. Sorry. Sometimes when you take these things to shows, they get kind of knocked around a little bit, even if you're careful with them. So I've got a wheel just kind of coming loose. I'm gonna have to do a little minor adjusting to that. But anyway, when they come to town, the truck's running hot, and he's over there putting water into the radiator. And if you'll notice, he's got that bumper tied on to that headlight piece. So we'll spin it around. And this is what's neat about this truck. I'm going to see if you can get in there. That fabric from that seat right there was made with made out of a medical bandage. And then I just weathered it a little bit, put some staining on it. And then this bed here, it came with a plastic bed, and I didn't like it, so I took all the measurements off of it, and I made a duplicate out of basswood. And then I stained it up, and then I took a Dremel to the underside of it and made it real thin, and then just took a hobby knife, took my X-Acto blade, and just very fine slices cut into it to make it look like rotted lumber. Then I put some like old paint stains, and even got paint running down the side right here, just to give it a little bit of a everyday use look. There I took the windshield and I rubbed it out because it was so dusty you can't see out of it, so they have to take a hanky and wipe it down. And then other than that, it's just basically a stock kit. The only other thing I did do to it was right here. There's a wheel well that goes right there. Well, their truck didn't have that wheel well, so I took some styrene and made my measurements and filled it in with putty and all like that to hide that wheel well. And other than that, just took I weathered it with just craft paints and pastel chalks. Took the chalk and run it through across some sandpaper, then just took a brush and dabbed it on and just gave it a good brushing. And folks, that's all there is to that one. Alrighty, stick around, we'll see what's next.